What do you genuinely not understand? Why I hate going to sleep and also hate waking up. I have the same problem. I admire the silence and calmness of night. Just hate daytime and noise. Hate getting in the shower and hate getting out. I think it's just that humans are lazy, and when we are comfortable, we don't want to do something else, especially if it's routine. Newton's first law: an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. Obviously sleeping isn't physics, but I think it's a good analogy. How so many freaking terrible commercials make it to TV. When I see a dumb commercial, my thought is always the same. A group of grown-ass people sat around a table somewhere and discussed how they want to promote their brand. They came up with an entire marketing strategy, probably had a vote about it, and sent approval onto the marketing department, company for production. That marketing department created, scripted, filmed, and produced that piece of shit commercial. Then they sent it back to the group of grown-ass people, who sat around the same table watching the shitty commercial before agreeing that it's sending the exact message they want about their brand. They likely then vote again to approve running it on TV. A huge budget is approved for putting the dumbass commercial out there, and the result is a piece of crap I just saw on TV. Yeah. I don't understand that. I work in an agency similar to the one you describe. We just did a rebrand, and the guy in charge of creating our promotional video made absolute shit. But the problem is nobody could argue with him cause he's the director of design in our company and happens to be the CEO's best friend. So we ended up having to post this piece of ass video that those two thought were really good. It's just because they're so far up each other's asses, and their own, that they believe everything they make is gold. This is the real answer here. As someone who has also made piece of shit commercials, we know it's shit, but someone higher than us up the client chain has a vision, and it's their dumb job to make that vision happen. I've had clients insist on using their family members as actors, when said family clearly couldn't act. Or they have a catchphrase that is just absolutely cringeworthy. Or they've got dreams worth millions, but a budget of $2K, and expect you to figure out how to make it happen. Then we sit around and look at the garbage we made and say, well, this is what they asked for. Yep. And what may have started out as a brilliant creative approach got mutilated into horseshit by the time it ran the ringer of stakeholder approvals, internal and client side. Or all those potato peelers that are made in any different way from the standard potato peeler that everybody has had since forever? How many engineers spent time designing that and making prototypes that went to QA and had a design review, standard and certification for food-grade materials were poured over? Collections of mandatory documentation about production and materials were carefully collected and stored. A committee approved it, and it went to production engineers who was tasked to do the tooling, which probably resulted in design changes that went back and got more QA and final go-ahead. Samples was sent out to convention and consumer goods fairs. Salespeople stood in a booth and offered representatives from large retail chains quotes for 100K units over 12 months' time. Deals were struck, contracts signed, money were put in escrow accounts. Designers made packaging and created logotypes and sent brand names to be stamped in the production facility. Instruction and labels were translated to the local language by technical writers. Logistic people poured over shipping and made sure it had all the correct numbers and barcodes. Retail worked printed labels and stacked the shelves. Not once did anybody take the time to stop and say, hey, I actually tried to peel a potato with this and it didn't really work. Like at all. In a lot of cases, whether or not a product works is secondary to whether it looks good on shelves. Potato peelers are a saturated market. Everyone already has one and they last close to forever. But a different peeler with packaging that convinces you that it will work better than the one you've got? That's a fresh market. Whether or not it works is immaterial. You just have to get people to buy it and make it cheap enough to be not worth returning, but instead live in the back of the junk drawer forever. To make the problem worse, a single piece of cheap molded plastic with one flimsy razor is way cheaper to mass produce than an actually good product. And it's really hard to improve on the current design. Repeat with every kitchen product ever and you get aisles and aisles of cheap plastic kitchen products that don't work. Sometimes when I'm just sitting there, I become hyper aware of my senses, and then the whole concept of existence just confuses the frick out of me. Or when you're brushing your teeth or washing your face and you stare at yourself in the mirror too long and you're just like, whoa, this is me, but I'm actually me and I see me. And you go into a mini existential crisis about you being you, and then you forget it happened. It's like when you're reading a word over and over and it starts losing all meaning. Except that, instead of a word, it's you. I want to frame this quote. I get that with the concept of infinity. Like, I understand it on a superficial level, but when I really stop and think about it, I can feel my brain noping out. Mine is trying to picture what's outside of our universe and then what's outside of that. If you go back before the Big Bang, what would existence look like? The concept of space-time is taxing on my mind. People who take personal offense when your taste in music, movies, food, whatever differs from theirs. I went to college with a guy who listened to exclusively classic rock. Great genre, totally get it. Except he would get legitimately angry when someone put on rap in the car or wanted to sing pop at karaoke. Refused to work with a friend of mine in a group project because she loved techno, said her opinions would never matter because obviously something was wrong with her. Why can't you just let people enjoy the shit they like? It's a form of elitism that makes themselves feel better and more cultured or intelligent than the people around them. It's dumb. I mean, look at the other comments on this post about people liking celebrities. It's the same shit. An extremely elitist friend of mine in high school got me into metal. Told me what genres and subgenres were good. Being a young dude in high school with limited friends, I quickly picked up on being an elitist toward listening to my superior music at full volume, playing it out loud on the bus, etc. And then I listened to one of the genres he said not to, and I really liked it. I didn't say anything, but I listened to it more and more. Eventually I saw a Reddit post and a guy was calling out an elitist metalhead and saying, you like what you like. Music is great. It's so varied and so wonderful. It doesn't matter if you like some obscure black metal and One Direction, still relevant at the time. All that matters is that you listen to what you enjoy. And that got me to stop being an elitist asshole. I now have musical tastes ranging from everything from old country, to rap, to hardstyle, to death metal. And it's great. There's so much out there. Stop shitting on others for 2 seconds and find something new to enjoy. Dude on Reddit told me to seek mental help for liking Venom the movie. Another stupid example of this is a dude on Twitter said he wanted to punch a kid for saying that he liked Rise of Skywalker. Some on the internet told me I've probably lost my taste, because I prefer Freeway, cheap Coke, over Schwipsquap, expensive or cheap Coke. As an American, I thought you were talking about cocaine. How language developed? Obviously it did, but I just can't fathom how. I just picture cavemen men walking and pointing to things and grunting. Sorry for the edit, but my typo was driving me crazy. That's basically it. They made sounds to refer to stuff and people caught on and used the same sounds and understood through context and repetition what each other meant, and it built and spread from there. I imagine early communication started with things like, hey relax, I'm not gonna kill you, come here, look, food, tasty, animal, danger. All things that are kind of obvious what is intended to convey in context and with pointing at the thing as you make a sound. How perfect strangers make small talk, and how they know when to end the conversation without it dragging on awkwardly. When there is a lull in the conversation, just say alrighty, well I need to go do XX. I hope you have a great day, and then walk away. Don't even have to say what you're doing. I'll be off. Then, see ya. The word anyway seems to work to segue to the end of a conversation. I used to be a lawyer and had 4 steps on my time to finish this consultation ladder. Okay then again, but this time slapping the table gently with both hands. Stand up, walk from behind desk, past client and open door. Only one client ever stayed sitting past step 4. It was horrible. I was powerless to defeat him. He stayed another 15 minutes, trying to teach me positive energy moves from his own brand of Tai Chi. I notice you said you used to be a lawyer. When can we expect your ebook on Tai Chi? Nothing. Like the whole concept of nothing boggles my mind. What was here before our universe? Nothing. What's in between the atoms of our bodies? Nothing. What's for dinner? Nothing. I just don't get it. As weird as it sounds, we actually don't have any concrete examples of nothing. Even if you examine an area of empty space, you find that you still have something there. Forgetting small particles or dark matter, even space-time itself is something, I think. Just because we can't perceive something, it doesn't mean it's nothing. How people believe 5G causes coronavirus. Saw some lady on our local news station's Facebook page going off about that. 5G is 10,000 times the power of 4G. Coronavirus has already caused testicle problems in men akin to high doses of radiation. I'm not going to reveal my sources. I did my research. Do your own. I'm not going to reveal my sources. I did my research. Do your own. Ah yes, the standard approach of every scientist. It's the scientific method. I'm not going to reveal my sources as universal in its meaning. Yet, my reply to that thread was that I did my research as the trademark cry of someone who has never done actual research.